Welcome to Deadlands Dime Novels, The Adventures of Young and Holt, Issue 31, Face the Sin. I'm your narrator, Ernest Wick, intrepid reporter for the Tombstone Epitaph. In this issue, it's the next morning, and Joshua has a big day ahead of him. In fact, it's much bigger than he expects, as his past catches up with him. Not long after meeting Reddington. And during all this, Porter has a breakfast date with some old friends. It's time to learn some secrets and see where they're at.
Joshua, you're sipping your coffee, crunching on a biscuit and some bacon, a little bit of gravy. And you see Ike come walking in. There's several people in here, but it's certainly nowhere near crowded. Comes right over to your table, sits right down, nabs a piece of bacon off your plate, starts chewing. Feeling better this morning?
Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Good. Now that you're sober, you feel like you're still serious about it.
You don't have to choke on those words as much as you're doing right now. Sober. Yes, it happens.
All right. And
if your boss needs me to be sober, I can be sober.
He would need you to be sober, yes.
All right.
Okay. He is outside, enjoying the lovely, warm Deadwood air.
Anything I need to know before I meet him?
No. He's a little odd. Otherwise, he's easy enough to work for.
Anything I'm not supposed to stare at? Any names not to use?
No.
All right.
No. He likes to click dominoes together, but beyond that...
I probably won't hear it.
That's true. All right, let's go.
Okay.
Take that biscuit with you. Don't leave that here.
Sob up a big mess of gravy on it.
That's pretty good, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No bad.
He takes you outside, around to the side of the Bell Union, away from the street, more towards the mouth of the front end of the street. And he's just sitting there. Looks like he's also sipping on something at a table outside. And you can hear him. He's just, I didn't bring any dominoes, but he's clicking them. Mr. Reddington, this is the gentleman I told you about. This is Joshua Young. Wipes his face with a napkin, stands up. Mr. Young!
Take my hat off.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Mr. Reddington?
Yes. By all means, please sit down. He sits back down. So, Ike here tells me that the two of you have a history together?
Well, I'd kind of like him not to talk about those days in public so much, as they weren't the most reputable at times.
Yeah, that's he didn't go into many details of it all. But he said that you were good where it counted with the trouble that we might run into with what we're doing.
He was right about that.
That's good to hear. Now, he did mention that you do sometimes like to imbibe a bit.
I do like the bottle. You know, with these old weary bones,
yes.
It helps me get to sleep at night, but if you need me to lay off of it, I can not touch it while I'm, if I do get the job with you.
That I do. I do need you to lay off of it. As you said, I normally ride with two bodyguards. Let's just call them that. The organization that I work with, I conduct a number of bits of research and experiments. I have a current experiment that I'm running in Deadwood, and I need just a little bit of extra protection, just in case of things. And Ike here, we lost our the previous second, Ike's brother, actually. Yes, so I'm needing a second, and shouldn't need you much more than, well, assuming everything goes well, I'll have to wait for the next communique from the home office, so to speak. I'll just leave it at that. But we could be remaining in Deadwood for a little bit longer, or perhaps moving on to a larger city. should the experiment prove successful.
Well, sir, there's a lot of big words in there, and I didn't quite follow them all, but you tell me what to shoot, and I will.
Ah, excellent. We want to make sure that I don't get shot, and that the experiment is well protected. And as long as I don't get shot, that should work out just fine then for you.
Well, I would only request you tell me about some threats before we walk into a possible situation so that I know who might be shooting at you.
Well, indeed. The thing I'm most concerned about is we'll be conducting our experiment. Well, we should be conducting it tonight, actually. And it'll be in the miners' camp over in the tents there. But I believe, so the only real threat would be the other miners should they overreact to the experiment. Takes a little sip of tea.
So, you often have a lot of people shooting at you?
Well, no. No, although it has happened. And within relative recent history. Again, Ike's brother. Sometimes these experiments can get out of hand and people can take the wrong reactions. And in a town like Deadwood, there can be a lot of trigger-happy individuals. With the threat of the Sioux and all that. You know, this being the city that it is. But my hope is that we shouldn't have any issues whatsoever.
It's very good.
Yes.
I think we have to use one of your words in accord.
Yes. Oh, good. Excellent. A bit of a learned man then. Good. It's good to hear. Yes. Meet here, outside here. It'll be just right at sundown.
Am I going to need a horse?
You will not need a horse. We'll go by foot up into the camp once it becomes dark. That's just for the nature of the experiment. That's what we're working on. I would ask you to please note no questions in regards to the experiment. It's not really necessary, and it's outside your purview for what you'll be doing.
I'll look at Ike.
It means don't ask questions. But you're free to go and do whatever you need to do during the day. I just need you here, sober, as you said, at dusk.
All right. Thank you for the job.
Of course. Should everything go well, we'll pay at the conclusion.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be fair.
Oh, I can guarantee you.
Put my hat back on, walk away.
Ike comes over by you, says, "All right, I'm sticking my neck out for you."
Appreciate it. You ain't got much neck left to stick out.
Yeah. Let's just hope that we don't need you after this.
Oh, Ike. Hurting my feelings there.
You round the corner with him as you're sparring there, and across the street you see Penelope.
Oh, great. Perfect timing.
Yeah, she's there with her her sorority, and she makes eye contact with you, and then her eyes immediately go over to Ike, and you see just this rage expression just kind of harden her face up as she looks behind in the mix of the women as they're setting up their banner and everything. You can see Bobby Prue. You can see Bobby in the mix there, kind of helping to get set up, doing what she can.
I'll tip my hat to her as she's starting to fume and be like, kind of that across the street ham. But that's probably only going to make her more pissed off.
She looks away briefly as if she's trying to just internally say, let it go. And Ike looks over. Do you know her? I don't recognize her.
I told you the other night that I got a lot of fuzzy things going on.
Yeah.
Let's just say she's all kinds of fuzzy.
Well, she's coming over here right now, and you look and you see she whatever she had in her hand, she threw it down on the ground, and she is coming just like determined walking. And she comes over to the two of you, and so we're getting back together. She's pointing at the both of you. Is that what's happening here? Could it cause more problems? You gonna be able to keep them under control this time, Mike? I don't think so. We all remember what happened last time. She just glares at you.
Deer in the headlights, look, searching through memories, trying to figure something out in Joshua's head as he's just digging, and there's nothing there but this just fuzz and this regret that he must have done something horribly bad, and it's just gnawing on him. And the fact that she is so pissed off at him and he has nothing to come back with.
Make me... Are you going to play a plot twist there? Because I've got one that I couldn't play on you right now.
I could totally trade you.
Okay.
All right, so this is a deep regret.
Okay.
On his part. Obviously, he's got blood on his hands that he doesn't remember.
Ike looks at Penelope and he says, "This is something different. Don't worry, we're not riding together. Those days are long gone. And you don't have to worry about it. I'm just trying to help get him back on the right path." She says, "Yeah, so did she. And we all know what ended up happening with that."
Now, Penelope, we don't need to bring her into this. Ike's already got me off the bottle.
Well, that's a start. But you got a long way to go. Joshua. Ike maneuvers a little bit in between the two of you. "Pen, it's okay. I'm going to handle this. He's fine. Like I said, I got him off the bottle, at least for a while. Just relax. Just relax. I promise. Take care of him. We'll keep him away from you. It'll be fine." No, you know what? No. I want you to go back there with me. You really don't remember, do you? Because you're just looking at me like an idiot. You don't remember, do you?
No, I don't. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I want you to come back there with me. I want you to come back there with me. You're not doing anything today. You're hanging around with him lying about being off the bottle. Why don't you come back there with me today?
I'll give Ike this look, this pained look, and realize that, yeah, need to do this. And
Ike throws up his hands.
I'll basically see you around.
Yeah, tonight.
And I'll look at Penelope. Lead on.
You want to go now? You want to get your day off started this way? That's just fine.
You already started my day this way, Penelope.
You got my field of vision, Joshua. She just turns on her heel and storms back over, not giving you any indication whether or not you should follow, but then she just heads back over to her group.
Yeah, I'll follow over to the group.
Okay.
Getting ready to be heckled by all of them.
Porter, what are you doing in the morning?
I have a breakfast date
Oh, that's right. All right. So
in a mining camp.
Yep.
So you and Regina are going up into the camp?
Absolutely. I have free breakfast. I'm not going to turn it down.
All right. You go up there. It takes you a good 5-10 minutes to find them because there's miners everywhere. There's people moving around. Everybody's going to get their either finishing up their breakfast or heading out to their claims. Stuff's moving around. But you do eventually find Jim, and he's there, and he's got a pot going, and he flags you down. Oh, good, you made it.
I did.
Oh, and I'm so happy. Where's your friend?
I'm afraid he had a job opportunity and couldn't quite make it.
All right. Well,
He was disappointed though.
well, as am I. He was quite amusing at that table. He wasn't the best of card players.
No, he's not.
By all means, here, have a seat. He hands you each bowl. Help yourself. It's not much, but we happen to catch a couple of rabbits, so we got a little bit of rabbit stew here.
I overcome my fear of being handed food. which I'd spaced out right until this moment. And when he offers it to me, I just kind of freeze for a moment, pale, and then put on a weak smile. And
it's not bad. It's a little weak on the spices, but it fills the belly, and it's got some decent nutrition. You spend a little while talking about. They talk a little bit about their mining efforts, and he says interesting story about this about our claim.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Actually, and Elmer says, "Oh, he loves telling the story."
I like good stories.
It is actually. Now, according to what we were told when we arrived here, because we went to the SA office and we showed our claim to make sure that we were legal. The previous owner of this claim was some woman, and her name. Elmer, what was her name? You tell this story every time. I can't believe you can't remember the name. Her name was Gretchen. Gretchen Hexen was her name. Oh yeah, Gretchen. So according to the story that we were told by the assay officer, she had this claim. She was a miner. She was looking for ghost rock, just like what we were doing. She didn't necessarily follow the rules about...
There's rules for this sort of stuff?
Very strict rules. We are only supposed to stay within the boundaries of our claim once we go outside the city limits. Because all this rest is Sioux territory.
Okay.
And we technically, legally... So I've been told. We're not even really supposed to be here. No one's supposed to be here. But the because of the mining association and everything, they sort of forced their way here, and they've come to some sort of agreement with the Sioux. I don't know the details and politics of it. It's not important to me as long as yeah. So anyway, this Gretchen though, she didn't necessarily follow the rules about staying in the claims area. She wandered off, or I guess her curiosity got the best of her, then ran into a bunch of Sioux because if you come out to our claim later, which you're more than welcome to, I would love for you and your friend to, she ran into a bunch of Sioux Braves out there. Well, as things most often go when it comes to this, at least from what I've heard, we've actually behaved. Things went sour very quickly, and Gretchen... She apparently has a love of fire, I guess. I don't know. She's German. I'm not really sure exactly how that works. But she had some sort of devices on her, and she was able to burn most of the Sioux as they were coming at her. I don't know if she got them all, but it was apparently very horrific.
It sounds horrific.
Yes. And then things... became very heated. Well, I didn't say heated, I guess, but I suppose I should. I don't know. I don't want to make fun of an unfortunate situation, but she got out of there. There was a little bit of tension, and she wisely left town. That supposedly was the end of it. However, when and that claim left or sat unclaimed until we got it. But so we were there when we first went out there. After we'd heard this story, there was this Sioux woman who was out there. And she wandered into our claim. We were very cordial to her. She thought that we were associated with this Gretchen. We said, no, it wasn't us. And but in an effort to kind of make amends to it all, we said that she was welcome there anytime. She was just there foraging, for food. And so we've actually kind of gotten along with her quite a bit since that time. She comes and goes regularly. She hasn't really helped us with our mining efforts, and that's just fine. But she has been kind enough to make us a meal or two. So it's sitting out there when we come out of the mine. But yeah, it's I love telling that story because it's kind of crazy everything that happened in regards to it. But
before you go on,
yes.
So he said a woman that he doesn't know just made a meal for him and gave it to him.
And suddenly you just got over, and
and she was Sue.
And she was Sue, because that's where the tail came from.
Yep.
So immediately, I'm looking at him more closely to make sure he's breathing, to make sure
He does appear to be breathing. He doesn't appear to be. He's a little excited, but he's not moving in any sort of strange, jerky motions.
Okay. My eyes used to sort of get distracted for a little bit, and I stopped eating for a little bit.
As the spoon's shaking, hovering between your mouth and the bowl.
And then I immediately lower it, like to hide the shaking. So she's been visiting now and then.
She does, yeah. We usually see her about 3 times a week or so. I think that she's there. Very, very kind. She seems very wise. Very wise. I'll be honest. We didn't have necessarily the best impression of the Sioux, but she has gone a long way to changing some of those impressions.
I've heard some stories from Joshua.
Oh.
And he's always spoken highly of the Sioux.
Interesting.
Enough that, maybe not all the stories you hear are completely correct.
Yeah. No, that could be. That could very well be. I wouldn't surprise me.
I still want to go wandering around their territory.
No, you definitely don't want to do that. I've heard of plenty. Now that one went completely, off of the rails. But I've heard plenty where there's been miners drunk. They wandered off sober. They wandered off, and they meet a very unfortunate end. Mm-hmm. So a lot of claims become reavailable after that. Ours is an unusual case. So we haven't had much luck, unfortunately, finding much ghost rock. More silver than anything else, but
enough to keep going.
That's good. That's we're lucky in that sense. I mean, I don't want to keep you, and we have to get going as well. But if you're interested, by all means, we'd love to show you our claim, and if you want to come out. If not, that's fine too. I'm sure you have plenty of your own business, you and your friend Joshua.
I don't know what I could go back and look for Joshua, but it might take me a while, and I don't know where to find you after that.
Well, true. That's true. Well, it's very likely that Elmer or I may come back at some point during the day. We always have to seem to come back into town to pick up something.
Okay.
But since I know where you're at, and now you know where our tent is, I'm sure we'll cross paths at some point.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for the meal.
Of course.
It was delicious.
Oh, good. They scoop up the remainder into like a larger canteen, and they commence suiting up the rest of their gear, and maybe we'll play some more cards.
Maybe we will.
And they start heading towards what you can see looks like a central trail that leads off into the hills.
I'm gonna wait until I can't see them anymore, because I want to kind of get an idea of which direction they went.
Yeah, it looks like there's like a central road or path that leads out of the where the tents are up into the hills, and it quickly gets lost in they disappear like into trees.
Okay.
From there. Penelope goes back. She talks to the women there. Bobby makes eye contact with you. She kind of winks and gives you like a little nod, but doesn't pay much more attention to you than that. After that, Penelope kind of gathers some of her things, and
would it be faster on horseback?
Do you have a horse?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go get it. I'll let you go get it. I'm gonna go get mine. I'll meet you right back here.
Go get my horse.
You secure your horse. It is after sunrise, so you absolutely can get your horse. And you meet her there, and you ride to the south outside of town. You follow a particular path that takes you a good couple of miles out of town. as has happened before when you first came to Deadwood, as you go through this path, you're getting another flash here and a flash there, and certain things look familiar. You go past a certain grouping of pines, and I've seen those pines before. They look familiar. Or maybe there's a rock off to the side of the road that you recognize. I sat there. At a certain point on this, really it's more of a, it's not much of a road as it is an extended game trail of sorts. She cuts off to the left and you go off trail. She looks back to you, she goes, "Don't worry, this is safe." And you gallop through some grass, and you eventually come up over a small little rise, and you can see what looks to be a very dilapidated looking shack and another outbuilding there as well. And you're hit by another hard mental image, and at the same time that one hits you of familiarity, you also feel some pains, like shadow pains, appear in your gut. You get within about a good 30 feet, and she dismounts, sets her horse up. You follow suit. Anything coming back to you at all?
Pain. Lots of pain.
Yeah? There's a lot of pain. A lot of pain. She walks over to the house. And you can, it's really not much more than a larger shack. And the roof's kind of worn in certain areas. The door is still on there. She steps up on the rotting porch and she turns and looks back at you. "You know what? Why don't you tell me, what do you remember?" She leans back against the door and commences to light up a cigarette. "And I want the truth."
Joshua's demeanor is going to be stoic, rugged. He's going to try not to let any of the emotions that are running wild inside of him come out. He's going to step up on the porch, listening to the creak of the familiar plank that always squeaked when he stepped up on it. Reach for the door that's still on the hinges and notice a couple of spots of wood that are a little better and newer than the rest of the door that he helped patch. Penelope. I think I'm going to be here a while. Dagnabbit woman. It's hard to be a changed man when people keep throwing your past in your face. You going to be okay riding back into town? Because I think I'm going to be lingering here a while.
You want me to leave?
I have vague memories of this place.
Yeah,
but it's broken and it's disjointed. It's why I crawled in a bottle.
You really don't remember, do you?
I remember being shot up.
Yeah.
I remember her with that smile nursing me back. Yeah. Us living in peace for a while. And with that, Joshua will flood back to a tranquil moment and kind of let his speech just trail off as he's remembering meals around the table, helping her around the steading, helping her with the horses while she was off mining, a good couple of weeks of just pleasantries before the realization of a couple of members of an old group he used to ride with. It's like everything was going good. Till they showed back up looking for me. Things went south. Remember a lot of shooting. A lot of other things I don't want to remember.
Yeah.
Didn't go well for her.
No, it didn't, Joshua. It didn't go well for her at all. And
Wasn't a dang thing I could do about it either.
Oh, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think that there's some amends that you can make for it. Absolutely. See, and I want to know what you remember because I was here. I was here, Joshua.
No.
Yeah. Times around the table? Yeah, there was some times when the two of you might have had a meal or two alone. But you don't remember me? You don't remember the old lady?
Mm-hmm.
That liquor really got to you, didn't it? It really got to you. Well, if you don't want to recount everything, Joshua, or if you can't, I would be more than happy to fill you in on some of those missing gaps.
As she's talking, Bill push open the door and look inside the...
You see the table that you mentioned where you had eaten, and you do have a memory flash that, yep, you did have a meal or two with her alone. But then you are hit with another flash. There was two other people, one of them old, one of them younger. The older one was native, the younger wasn't. Penelope walks in, goes and stands by one of the sides of the table, and sets up a chair, sits down on it, looks up at you. Does this jog your memory? You are hit with the realization that that Penelope was indeed at this table at one point in time. It's coming back to you now? Yeah.
Tarnations, woman.
Yeah. Here's what... Well, no, you know what? Let's go over here, Joshua. She walks you into another part of the shack, and you walk into the doorway, and just bam, it just hits you. This was where you were laid up, and you're hit with a flood, and it almost as if it repeats. You're hit with a flood of memories that Abigail is there. She's helping you. You see Penelope's face again. You see this older woman's face, and she's definitely native now for sure. She never looks happy when she sees you. In any of those memories, she doesn't look happy at all. In fact, you can almost see yourself laying on where the bed was, looking into the doorway, and you can see an argument between Abigail and this old woman. Is this helping? Is it coming back?
Joshua's shoulders will, at the force of the blows of the memory, he'll go from the stoic, standing up straight to, shoulders slouching, and then kind of leaning on the door frame as it's just overcoming him and wearing him down. And you can tell by his posture and the droop of his head, and he's just starting to be lost in this flood of memories that he's almost experiencing for the first time, because the fragments that he's had in his mind as he's trying to rebuild his life are being shattered. The good times weren't good times.
She takes you out of the building. You want to keep going? I mean, we're out here.
Might as well put me out of my misery out here.
If that would only make everything better. She walks you over to where the other building was. It looks like it's a small, or what's left of a small horse stable. and you get closer, and more flashes start to come in, and you see the members of the gang you used to ride with. You see Ike's face. You see Mike's face. There's somebody else, maybe 2 other people. That's not quite clear. You make your way. There's some hot-headedness. There's some anger. There's some shouting. The native woman, the older native woman, is almost beside herself with rage, cursing in her native language at you and at Abigail and at the other guys there. Then there's you can see Penelope standing off to the side a little bit as all this is going on. Then there's some sort of thing. It gets a bit jumbled, but they're over by the horses, and all of a sudden you're remembering that where you were standing, and you were drunk at this point in time. I'm very drunk, but up and moving around. And Ike is next to you, trying to either restrain you or pull you. Mike is over, and he's getting your horse or something. He's doing something with horses. There's more yelling and shouting, and then the buried secret card. Buried secret comes to life. And you see there's more shouting. Ike shouts something in your ear. You can't tell what it was. You push him. You go to draw on Mike. And in a flash, Abigail is in front of you. And the gun goes off and she drops to the ground. You hear screams, and everything becomes very, very confused at that point. And the next thing you know, you're riding out on the horses away from this, back towards Deadwood.
Totally overcome by this, Joshua will, hands shaking, drop to his knees, slouch, tears will start to build in his eyes. A couple will streak down his face, and he'll just shake his head, keep saying to himself under his breath, no, it's not right. No. I didn't. No.
No, it wasn't right, but you did.
No.
You did.
No.
No. No. Get up. Get up. Killer. She takes you over around the other side of the horse stable. There's a small mound of dirt with rocks and a cross. No, you did. I hate to break it to you, I don't know what you thought you did, but that's what you did. You killed my cousin. She took you in because she was stupid and she was good-hearted, and for some reason she found your ruddy face handsome, and
she's the best woman I ever knew. That's what I remember.
Yeah, she was mine too. Fortunately, things got worse at that point. See, you left with Ike and everybody else. She wasn't dead. She was dying. And Penelope slumps down next to you. See, she's struggling with this. See that old woman that was here? She was a Sioux woman.
Abigail nursed her back to health as well, too. She loved it so much, she just stayed. Developed quite an affection for her, like mother to daughter, I don't know. We cared for her. I cared for her. Everything was fine until after you shot her. The woman, we tried to get the bullet out. We tried to patch the wounds. It was really bad. And so I went to bed that night thinking my cousin's going to be dead. I was too exhausted. Everything that had happened that day. I wake up. Hell, you didn't remember you even shot her, so you don't even remember what it was like that night. There was a nasty storm that night. A lot of lightning, a lot of rain, a lot of wind. I look out my window. There's a fire in the back. How that Sioux woman got that blaze that high in that rain, I have no idea. But it was something to behold. And I didn't realize it, but laying right there next to her in that fire was Abigail. And she was singing, that Sioux woman, she was singing, but it was not a pleasant Sioux song. I had heard more than enough of pleasant Sioux songs. This one was not. This one was something else. This one made my skin crawl and made my blood turn to ice. And the wind started swirling around her. And I had to rub my eyes and make sure that I saw what was next. But I know what I saw. That woman, that Sioux woman, she took a knife and she skinned Abigail's face. Took it right off. She took her face off, Joshua. And if that wasn't enough, then she put it on. She put our Abigail's face on her face. And then I still don't believe it. But I saw something come up out of Abigail at that point. It was white and it glowed just a little bit, even in the firelight. And it moved against the wind and just floated in and came like it went inside through her mouth, through Abigail's face and her face, mouth. It went right inside. And then it wasn't much long after that the fire went out. And I didn't know what to do. I pretended to sleep. I heard her come back in. I heard her gather up things. Storm seemed to almost end not long after that. And then she left. She walked out. I heard her muttering something as she was getting ready to go. I heard something about heading west. Or maybe it was, I want to say she said Denver. But in the morning I got the hell out of there, and I haven't been back since. You didn't get to see that though. But you caused it.
Wow. I got to see the tail end of it. See, after I rode out, there was a mining camp. And that night, yeah, there was a storm. Lightning, thunder. Didn't have a tent for shelter, but we figured we would make do with what shelter the mining camp gave us. Yeah, middle of the night, screams, gunshots. I don't know the best way to describe it, but whatever it was, didn't walk right. And it was killing men, left and right. And when it turned to look at me, it was Abigail. That's why I couldn't pull the trigger.
You saw her face?
Yeah. Every night. It's another reason why I crawled in the bottle. Seems like the wrong memories keep dying, though. But I appreciate you telling me this, because it makes a few things straight in my mind. She's been talking to me. She ain't saying nice things, neither.
Who's been talking to you?
Well, ghosts of our past. Penelope, I'll try to make this right by her.
What are you gonna do?
Hunt down that thing.
You gonna be able to free Abigail, you think?
One way or the other.
I mean, if I didn't know better, I'd say she took her body and soul.
Well, Abigail's soul's pure. Her body might have been corrupted, but one way or the other, we'll end this.
Alright.
I'll kind of look at her and judge if she is emotionally upset enough that she would accept a hug as kind of some consoling. And I'll start by Joshua will extend an arm out to her shoulder. And after she probably jerks away a little bit, he'll firmly kind of just pull her in.
She gives you the hug of someone who's lost a loved one just as important to you, and feels a similar conviction can give.
Seen a lot of things now since I've been walking this earth, and not all of them can be explained.
I couldn't explain that.
No. I think you might have one walking around Deadwood that I need to try to take care of before I go find Abigail. So if you see me wandering around town with Ike, just know I can never forget about your Abigail, or my Abigail.
No. And I can tell that your regret is sincere. We're square. We're square.
No. You gonna be alright riding back into town?
Yeah.
Because I do think I'll linger a bit.
You linger. I'll be in town. She goes, gets on her horse, heads back out. You do know, as you spend some time at the grave, you can tell which weapon of yours was used to shoot. Then that memory comes back. Which weapon was used that killed Abigail? I'll let you decide which one it is.
I have kindness, mercy, and due diligence left.
Mm-hmm. Kindness and mercy both work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. May have to go get those and bring them back out here to bury them. Bring them back out here. Bury them next to the grave of Abigail.
Okay. Which one?
Both kindness and mercy.
Both of them.
And as I'm doing that, yeah, both star revolvers. I'll do that too. And as I do that, take my hat off, hold it down, say a few words. What? Yeah, the time for kindness and mercy might be over.
As you go to get up, a glint catches your eye, and you look back towards the grave where Abigail is buried, and there is something in the dirt that catches your eye, and you fish the dirt away a little bit, and you again swear that was not there before, because you have been staring at this grave for some time, and but that is there now, almost calling to you to take it.
I will.
And I will let you decide what that heirloom, via the heirloom card, is.
So,
that you.
Joshua reaches down in the dirt, makes a fist around the object, Pulls it back up. Holds it close. Tucks it in his pocket.
Well, I think Joshua didn't see that coming. What it'll do to him, we'll have to wait and see. But Young and Holt have something more pressing to deal with, and it begins in our next issue, Meet Patchy. The part of Joshua Young is played by Brent Rich, Porter Holt is played by Brad Smith, and your intrepid Marshal is played by Chris Hussey. Deadlands and Savage Worlds are the property of Pinnacle Entertainment Group. Learn more about their great games at their website, peginc.com. And of course, thanks always to our friends at Fear the Boot. You can support their Patreon at patreon.com/feartheboot. Intro music provided by the Eaglestone Collective. Exit music by Gunslinger Andy. The character of Gretchen Hexen is courtesy of Historian of Nukes. The character of Penelope is courtesy of Mumfrey999. Sound effects by Plate Mail Games. Hear what they have to offer at platemailgames.com. Contact information for the cast as well as music links can be found in the notes on our website, youngandholt.com. If you enjoy these issues, please consider dispensing a lovely 5-star review on wherever you do listen from. Please search for Fear the Boot Actual Play. It's kindly appreciated. I'm Ernest Wick for the Tombstone Epitaph. And remember, sin deceives, then defiles, then deadens.